Color grading is an essential step in VR filmmaking. Today, I will share my color workflow in DaVinci Resolve with 3 different real-world examples, from 360 to VR180 shot on the Canon VR system. We will explain why reviewing your color grading inside a VR headset like Meta Quest 3 is so important and why this won't work. How to add halation and bloom to make your digital shot VR video look like film. Tips and tricks to expand your dynamic range from a consumer 360 camera, and techniques to handle potential stage light problems. We got a lot to cover, so let's go. This is part 2 of my new VR editing masterclass series. Part 1 covers how you get from camera to Adobe Premiere and the Premiere to DaVinci Resolve. If you miss it, go back and watch that one first. Before we start color grade, let's talk about a couple basic principles in VR color grading. In order to see your grade, you usually need a professional calibrated monitor, and you are grading for your end user display like a TV screen, a cinema screen, an HDR display, or IMAX screen. In our case, it's the Meta Quest 3 or any VR headset of your choice. So we need to understand color space before we can do a correct color space transformation. We are going to use the Meta Quest VR headset as the reference point here, but same principle is going to apply on Pico, HTC, or the upcoming Apple Vision Pro. You just need to find out their display color space from the official document. Meta Quest 3 right here is roughly DCI-P3 Gamma 2.2, so in your project setting, color management, set your timeline color space and output color space to P3 D65. If you adjust your professional calibrated monitor to P3 D65 Gamma 2.2, you should be seeing what your viewer in VR are seeing, right? No! Okay, my colorless viewers, please don't throw shit at me. I wish the answer was as easy as ACES, but it is not. We are filmmaking pioneers. The camera or the display is not standardized because the tech is so new. So that is why I never should log on any of the Insta360 camera. I recommend shooting in regular mode so you get accurate Rec 709 footage for color grading. I will cover Canon camera later, so don't worry VR180 filmmakers. So instead of viewing in P3 D65 to give yourself a false illusion that your VR headset display can show those colors without bending issue, we are going to set timeline color space to Rec 709 scene and output color space to Rec 709A. This also makes camera matching a lot easier, as most of the 360 or VR180 camera are consumer grade small sensor, only capable of reaching 8-bit color depth. So how do you see your grade? The simple answer is in a VR headset. Your Rec 709 display will get it close, but in VR, it will always look a little bit softer, less saturated, and less in contrast. So how do you send your grade into your VR headset live? Well, that is a very complicated topic. We internally use NDI. In color page, we switch from clip to timeline. We drop in an OFS effects from time in pixels called no display. We can use GPU accelerated render here and set the image scaling to 50% or less. I have the Gigabit Aura X17 with NVIDIA RTX 4090 GPU right here, so I can handle the 8K footage from Canon R5C. 50% will be 4K, and that's how you see it on YouTube VR. I also crop only the left eye using the Fusion page beforehand by setting the crop to 4096. All these hacks are to have better playback performance, as Canon Fisheye lens has a perfect color match on left and right eyes. We only need to grade in one eye. This is also how we technically get monoscopic 360 video with the back 180 is black. So we can have the exact same color grading workflow as in 360 video. We don't need to see stereo 2D in color grading. Now, if you click open display and play your timeline, you see the 360 video. Open the free NDI tool and open Studio Monitor, you see the 360 video here as well. Great! The goal here is to broadcast NDI feed from your resort color page. You can also just loop out a 4K SDI feed from your professional monitor to a bird dog 4K SDI. Then bird dog can broadcast a 4K 60 frames per second NDI feed into your local network. This way will save your computer resources so it can focus on color grading instead of broadcasting VR. Well, BirdDog is an expensive professional VR live streaming equipment. We use it to get live feed from my Canon R5C2 fisheye lens right here into a VR directly, but time in pixel no display will work just as well. Slower, but save you thousands of dollars on hardware costs. Now you have NDI, you can use our good friends Matthew Cecilia Lightcell's NDI plugin to pull in the VR video into your Meta Quest 3 using Oculus Link. But better, you can broadcast this 4K 60 frames per second NDI signal using OBS free on your local network. Then you can use your Meta Quest browser to pick up that local live stream using a simple URL. Now you can live color grade inside VR. Very cool, right? If you want the in-depth breakdown, step-by-step tutorial on how to set up OBS and how I connect my Canon R5C2 fisheye lens to get a live video feed in VR180, comment below. It is complicated and might take an hour-long tutorial to explain everything, but if I see an overwhelming request, I will make that tutorial free for the community. So don't forget to subscribe to support your boy and Kimchi. Okay, back to the creative part. Color grading. The first footage we are going to work on is shot on the Meta camera right here in log mode. You can learn about this camera in this in-depth review right here. The first step is to use a CST node to transform it into Rec 709, our timeline color space. I believe they use a high-end Sony sensor, don't quote me on that though, but Sony S-Gamma and Gamma 2.2 work really great from my experience. So now we get Rec 709. Feel free to further color correct in the node tree before it, but let's reset it as I am the DP on this video and there's a reason why I set my exposure the way on set. Add a node after CST and drop in the Dehancer Pro. Dehancer Pro is my secret color grading weapon to get the film look you saw in all my VR films. My film never look too digital. They are softer and they all have that classical teal and orange look, just like Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer, or the recent Napoleon by Ridley Scott. Well, all those are shot on a film camera, and in VR, the only thing we can do is film conversion. And Dehancer is the best for the job. You can absolutely achieve the same look by just using DaVinci Resolve, but it is a lot more complicated. Let me show you how easy this is. Add a node before Dehancer, drop in the Board Effect BCC VR Reorient. You should see the correct non-distorted view, just like inside VR headset. Sorry, I don't have the Board Effect license on my brand new M3 Max MacBook Pro right here, so you see this giant X here. Let's remove it as we don't really need it. Toggle open monitor and let's turn on clipping indicator so we don't clip our footage. Make sure your source is Rec 709, turn on film and enable it. Choose a profile. We use Kodak Vision 3 500T. T stands for tungsten. This is extreme low light and Kodak Vision 3 500T is great for that. We actually going to pull all the way to the right to get the deep film look. Now we go to print, select Kodak 2383, print film and enable analog range limiter so we keep the analog film look. Play around the sliders until you get the look you want. I usually increase the color density to make the color pop. It's looking really good already. Now go to Film Developer, enable it. Here is basically like your DaVinci Resolve primary reels. I like to boost the color a little bit more to really have that very dense color look that you only see on film. Take a look at before and after. It looks great. Now let's develop our look. Open color head, enable it, and turn preserve exposure all the way down. That is the look I'm happy with right here. Remember, a little bit of adjustment goes a long way. Finally, we use the expand tool to maximize your contrast for VR headset. If you notice already, your perfectly graded footage look a little bit less inside VR. That is why I always like to crush the black and white as much as I can to get rid of that milky grayish black. Looking at your parade right here, push the white point just touching the top line, then pull it back down a little bit. On the black, we gotta push it past safety until you see a clipping indicator, and then pull it back just before hitting the floor. Now we have the perfect contrast. Remember, we set the color space in Rec 709. If you do not clip in Rec 709, it is safe inside Metacraft 3 DCI-P3 display. Now the mid-tone needs some love. Back to Film Developer 2 and push the gamma correction until you see a good exposure on Kitty's face. Now let's add some film characteristics to wow your audience. Enable Halation and Bloom. Take a look at the highlight. It looks just like shot on a film or an expensive cinema camera. If you take a look at Christopher Nolan or Oppenheimer right here, the highlight all has halation and bloom. Look at that. The skin is never too sharp and lean toward the warmer color. I don't want to copy Christopher Nolan exactly, but these are the common film look I want to emulate to make us look like filmmakers, even we don't shot on a film VR camera. Optionally, you can add a sharpening node right after Dehancer to sharpen your VR footage. I personally don't like the sharp look. Meta does though, and same as many VR camera manufacturers. So after Dehancer, if you think your footage is a little bit too soft, then feel free to sharpen it. Okay, now learn how to color grade daytime footage. And we are going to transform a small sensor action camera footage like the one shot on the Insta360 1-inch right here into something that look like shot on an expensive film camera. We are already in Rec 709 color space after output from the Insta360 Studio, so go ahead and add a node and Dehancer on it. Disable all the nodes and turn on clipping indicator. If you turn on the false color, you see this footage is exposed perfectly well. Add a node to make sure your footage is color corrected though. My trick here is to isolate skin tone. As long as the skin tone is correct, everything else will fall into place. Turn on your vector scope. Go to setting and make sure your skin tone indicator is turned on. Now use the mask tool to draw a circle to isolate the skin. Turn on the alpha mask display right here. The DP did a pretty good job on white balance. As you can see, I moved the offset wheel around, the skin color move. And you want the skin color fall on the skin tone line right here. Let's reset that and turn off the mask. Enable film and pick a film stock. We use Kodak Vision 3 50D. Which is designed for daytime filmmaking. If you are confused on which film stock you should use in your particular lighting condition, refer to this chart right here. Use the push-pull to dial in your style. I like what it looks now. Enable Kodak 2383 print film and analog range limiter. Immediately, you get the cinematic teal and orange look. You will never get this look using a simple LUT, and this is the look of a Kodak film stock, not a LUT created by some random YouTubers. And this look has been in the film industry for the past 50 years, before digital camera was ever invented. Again, I like to push the color density to bring out the muted color. Now enable Film Developer, tone down the contrast a bit as Insta360 camera tend to be over contrast everything. Let's boost the color a little bit more to bring out Kitty's golden red hair, just like Oppenheimer's. In fact, let's reduce the contrast even more to keep the highlight around 896, just like Christopher Nolan did. The color is really good on this one, but we can make it instantly has more dynamic range by enable film compression. Play around the setting right here, and I want you to pay close attention to the cloud and the highlight. Before, we cannot see the details. After, we can see a lot more detail in the highlight. This is my secret trick to fake dynamic range on an action 360 camera to have that cinematic look. With the film compression, it also brings out Kitty's skin tone. At this point, you can define your look by simply push and pull the film setting right here. Use the expand tool as the final step to punch in the contrast to taste. Turn on Halation and Bloom in daytime. Halation tends to be too much. Using 65mm profile and reduce the amplifier to 30-ish. Remember, subtle is the key here. By the way, Never use film grain in VR, as YouTube and MetaQuest TV will compress that film grain into garbage. Keep it clean. Finally, do not forget to turn off the clipping indicator as it will render into your final footage. Next, let me show you the VR180 color grading workflow on footage shot on the Canon R5C with dual fisheye lens setup. Just like how I showed you earlier, we will go into Fusion first, use a crop node to turn VR180 into a monoscopic 360 video, so you can preview it inside MetaQuest 3 using the MetaQuest browser. Currently, the WebXR browser does not support 3D 180 video. Meta is aware of the problem and hopefully will fix it soon. For now, just turn VR180 into 360 using this trick. Next, you know that already, but let's practice it again. Color correct your footage. Even in log footage, the skin tone principle is the same. We want to draw a circle mask to isolate the skin tone, make sure it falls on the skin tone indicator line. You can just use the offset view to fix the white balance if it is off. Then drop in Dehancer, deactivate all the tools and turn on the clipping indicator. The next part is important, color space transform within Dehancer. Using a well-known camera like Canon, Red, Arri, or Sony had this advantage. You can directly transform Canon R5C 03 cinema gamut to a codec film stock to achieve the best analog matching. So, using the Canon VR180 system will give you the best coloring result, a significant advantage as a Canon VR shooter compared to Insta360 or other smaller camera makers. This is daytime, so we will use the Kodak Vision 350D again, pick Kodak 2383 print, and adjust setting to liking. The rest is very similar to other daytime color grading. So I fast forward here. Color grading is an art. There is no step-by-step tutorial for it. You really need to experiment, sit it in your VR headset, and use famous film as a reference, and develop your own style through repetition and practice. I want to point out a common problem for 360 filmmakers, stitch line. Dehancer is not 360 aware yet. Halation and Bloom might cause stitching issue. As you see here, there is a visible line cutting the line in half. I used an adjustment layer here with BCC VR Reorient to look at the back of the 360 where the stitch line is located. There's an easy fix though. You can turn off the preview adjustment layer now. By the way, Boards Effect VR Reorient is not free and you don't really need it. It is more a utility toolset for me to identify the problem faster, but if you want it, I have a 15% discount code for you. Check the link in the description down below. Boards Effect Mocha though is something you should consider getting, as it is a VR tracking tool for VFX inserts. Anyway, back to the easy fix. Go to Fusion, insert a panel map node, open rotation, and offset the Y to 180 degrees. Now render out your color graded final result as ProRes. We are also gonna render out a version without the panel map. So we have two versions of the same clip. Now use panel map node in Fusion again on the top clip to reset it back to 180 degrees. So the top clip now is exact match of the bottom clip. Now we duplicate the top clip again, cropped the left side and the right side of each top clip, and add some feather so it blends better. There you go. Add the BCC Reorient adjustment layer again to check out the stitch line issue. It is gone now and no more stitching issue. Finally, render and deliver. This is bigger topic that require another dedicated YouTube tutorial to cover, as MetaQuest 3 now has AV1 and everything just got a whole lot more complicated. But don't worry, we will cover that in my next tutorial. Now we can shoot spatial video on my iPhone 15 Pro Max right here. It is basically a 3D video. Can we make it look like film? Yes, you can! Dehancer Pro also has a powerful iOS app. You can import your spatial video directly, color grade inside your phone, as you see right here. We got the same control as we just learned inside DaVinci Resolve. Now, you don't even need Premiere or DaVinci Resolve. You can just color grade on your phone and export that film-like spatial video for the upcoming Apple Vision Pro, which is very exciting. Drop me a comment down below if you want to learn more mobile color grading workflow on spatial photo and spatial video. We cover a lot in this in-depth tutorial. This is my Christmas gift to you. I think knowledge is the best gift, and it makes me happy knowing you will become a better VR filmmaker after this tutorial. So go back and watch it again, take notes, and ask questions in the comment section down below so I can assist you further. I am usually pretty good at responding my YouTube comment, but if you want to reach me faster, follow me on Instagram and DM me there.
Can we have a discount on Dehancer Pro Santa?
Ho ho ho! You can, Kimchi! We have an exclusive discount if you are interested in Dehancer Pro and the Dehancer iOS app. Check the link down below. Also, voice effects, revision effects, and all the tools mentioned in this video, we all have discount code down below. I hope I can save you a bunch of money, but remember, none of this software will magically make your video better. Knowledge is the key, and that is why you should subscribe to this YouTube channel if you are new here, and drop Kimchi a like and a thank you comment down below. Check out the final color graded result on MetaQuest 3 right here, and please use a MetaQuest browser to watch this in 8K 60 frames per second AV1 codec to see all the hard work in the color grading. 4K look like on YouTube VR, so use Skybox VR player or the free MetaQuest browser. Follow this tutorial right here if you don't know how to watch the best quality VR video on YouTube. Kimchi and I will see you in the next tutorial, or see you in the metaverse.